welcome to the Trent Advantage live stream events. Tonight's topic is criminology. My name is Shanice, and I'll be your host for tonight's live stream. And joining me tonight is Jillian Balfour, who is a professor within the Sociology department. How tonight is going to work, we're going to have a quick little interview with Jillian, just answering some questions. And then at the end of that interview period, we will be answering all of your Q&A questions. So in the chat box, you can enter any questions you may have, and then we'll answer those at the end. So this series is called the Trent Advantage. So what exactly is the advantage of the Criminology and Socio-Legal Studies specialization?
Yeah, we intended to have the specialization work in such a way that students would have as much opportunity to create a degree for themselves that reflects as many different interests that they may have. So rather than being sort of locked into a very rigid list of courses without a lot of options to sort of be a bit more broad in your studies, the advantage of this specialization, as it's called, is it's comprised of a reasonably short list of courses that are embedded within a sociology degree. So what that means is that you're welcome to take courses in other fields, in other disciplines that complement your studies and your interests. So you can take some courses in forensics, some courses in history, in order to build a bit of a more sort of personalized undergraduate degree.
Awesome. So next question is Criminology and Socio-Legal Studies considered an undergraduate degree?
It's not at the moment. It is considered a specialization that lives within the sociology degree program at Trent. So you would come in as a sociology major, and what that gives you, though, is sort of as a home base where you start your studies from, and you're more than welcome to pursue a joint major as well as a sociology degree. So there's lots of flexibility about how you organize the various sort of themes within your undergraduate degree, but you are within a sociology undergraduate honors degree, getting a specialization in criminology.
Perfect. Next question. So when would students start taking courses specializing in criminology and social legal studies?
Yeah, so generally our specialized courses start in the second year. So when you come in your first year, we really encourage students to have a breadth of interests in their studies. So to cover off something in the humanities, social sciences, and sciences as well. And what that sort of equips you for is to move into your second year where you have a really strong foundation of skills and knowledge, which you will quickly learn that the sociological approach to criminology and socio-legal studies, it's historical, it's cultural, it's political. It's not, I would say, a field of or an approach to the study of criminology that locks you into a particular worldview. And so we intentionally made it so that students can land in the second year and then begin to do a deeper dive from years 2, 3, and 4.
Next question. Given all the programs offered at Trent, do I have to major in sociology to specialize in criminology and socio-legal studies?
It will happen as a result of where the specialization starts you off. So you come in as a sociology major. Now that could be that you do a 3-year general degree in sociology and not have to do a full 4-year degree. But you will end up with a sociology designation as part of your specialization in criminology.
And then can students take a joint major with the specialization?
Yes, I think it's, again, as I said, Trent really sort of encourages students to personalize and individualize their degrees. And so specializations are a really sort of tidy package of courses and that you can then sort of map on to other degree streams that you might be interested in. So I see lots of students who have joint majors in psychology and sociology with a specialization in criminology, for example. We also have a fair number of students in the business program as well, and I think that's a really interesting development in the field in terms of the types of skill sets that students are identifying that they're going to need in the workforce.
Awesome. Next question. What types of courses are offered within the specialization?
So being a sociology-based program, the approach to the study is really sort of that of social inequality, social justice. We don't take a what would call sort of a more forensics criminalist kind of approach to the discipline. So in the second year, you would take something like deviance and social control, which looks at sort of the social construction of behavior and identities as problematic or as abnormal, and sort of really kind of, as I said, politicizing those kinds of conversations. And getting into the third year, criminalizing and punishing women, there is critical criminology, which looks at a lot of the more sort of problematic relationships that we see between unemployment and poverty and incarceration. Then there is the sociology of homelessness, which is one of a kind actually in Canada in an undergraduate degree, which really sort of puts you in the community and surrounding neighborhoods to understand how homelessness becomes part of the social worlds of people. And then in your fourth year, you would take courses such as the sociology of law, as well as having related courses such as gender and sexualities in the law. And we also have in our fourth year a very specialized and unique and it's in there we study restorative justice with incarcerated students. So I bring 10 of my best students from the campus, and every week we go into the institution and we learn with incarcerated students. So that sort of takes you through from the second year to the fourth year.
Awesome. This is just a reminder for all of our viewers. If you do have any questions, to be putting them in the chat box, and we can answer those for you at the end. But our next question here. So with the specialization, what types of careers do you see students pursuing after graduation?
Well, a lot of the research that we've done or surveys that we've done with our students have found that they're very interested in becoming involved in frontline service, nonprofit, agency, community-based work, more so than we had expected, actually. So students are really looking for the applied skills of how do I do research? How do I do policy development work? How do I develop a strategic plan for an organization? And so within our courses, we've come to sort of realize that students should acquire the skills by which they can become part of a social justice community where they're involved in, for example, John Howard, Elizabeth Fry, local homeless shelters and so forth, as being part of these agencies on a day-to-day basis. We do have some students who pursue parole officer work, probation officer work as well, corrections and things like that. But a lot of our students really do move into, as I said, sort of what I call broadly sort of the social justice fields.
Perfect. Next question. Are there any academic requirements to specialize in criminology and sociological studies?
No, your 4U English is all we ask for. There's really as most undergraduate degrees are in the social sciences, a commitment to reading critically, writing well, conducting library-based research. Those are things that you should feel interested in pursuing, because that is really sort of the space in which much of your learning will happen.
Next question. So gaining hands-on learning experience is
Mhm.
obviously crucial for all students.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about any career boosting experiential learning opportunities within the specialization and sociology as well?
Yeah, so what we have set up is an opportunity for students to do research practicums with faculty members. So many of us are involved in our own independent research, whether it's involved in interviewing people or, out in the community, conducting focus groups and so forth. And so what we would do is bring students into our research practice with us and give them some real hands-on experience around the ethics of research, dealing with vulnerable populations and things like that, actually collecting research data, doing preliminary analysis. We've had students publish papers with some of our faculty members. And as I said, sort of the prison-based course, as I call it, is another sort of opportunity for students to look at how education works inside correctional institutions and how education becomes sort of a means by which rehabilitation can become part of the day-to-day worlds of prisoners, and basically looking at a really good relationship between universities and correctional institutions.
And then our last question, who is the best person to contact if students have any questions about criminology and social legal studies?
Sociology at trentu.ca.
Perfect. Alrighty, so we'll go into our Q&A portion. Right now we only have one question there. So they're just wondering, is the selection for fourth year courses surrounding restorative justice only based on grades?
No.
Okay.
Not at all, actually. Grades are not a priority for that particular course. It is a competitive entry course because I'm only able to take 10 students with me. And it's based on an interview with me, a criminal records check, as well as a written assignment, if you will, that is focused on the nature of the course or the content of the course. And it's really about seeing where people's sort of worldviews are about prisons and sort of being more sort of critical about the ways in which we think and conceptualize of punishment. So it is about, what is your worldview? What are some of your personal experiences? Why does this appeal to you to go into a correctional institution?
And they're also wondering if we offer any courses within the sociology stream that are hands-on courses.
Well, we don't have labs in the conventional sort of, science disciplines. So hands-on in terms of if you're thinking around a co-op or a placement or an internship, no, we don't do those within the sociology program. So our focus is on giving students opportunities to do research. So in addition to the practicum, research practicum opportunity, one thing we do have is an ongoing relationship with the Center for Community-Based Education, which is or research, I should say, where students actually are partnered with a local organization and works with them to meet some of their organizational needs for research.
Awesome. Another question here from Abby. They're wondering if the program is a good preparation for law school.
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. Law school is all about grades. Getting in is all about your grades. You can have an undergraduate degree in biology and go to law school. You learn what you need to learn in law school. And not to say that sociology wouldn't prepare you for law school. It certainly would, but I talk to a lot of students who think they need to take a criminology degree to study law. Law is so much more than criminal justice. And it is, as I said, really about how strong your grades are in that fourth year. So if you're somebody who really likes philosophy or really likes history and does extremely well in those fields, do that.
Strong.
Go with your strengths.
Awesome. Next question is wondering, similar kind of thing, if this is a good program to go into policing.
Yeah, I think, policing for me is a social practice, right? It is premised on relationships and power, and it is a deeply embedded practice within all of our communities, and we need to understand how it can work and how it can't work and how sometimes it can do harm. So is it about the technical aspects of law enforcement in terms of the interpretation of law, the application and collection of evidence? That's more of a forensic, which you can certainly do at Trent. But the sociology program, I would say, as a future police officer, really gives you an understanding. What are their needs? What are their problems? And I mean, I think most police officers who I work with in research capacities will say that 90% of their job is social work. It's about understanding people's vulnerabilities and how to keep people safe, certainly in the area of mental health and homelessness. So I just think you need to think about what's your definition of policing and how you see yourself in relation to policing, and then decide what kind of pathway you want to take.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, those are all of our Q&A questions
Sure.
for tonight. So thank you so much, Jillian, for all of your wealth of
Anytime.
knowledge. So we will end it there. Thank you all for joining us for tonight's webinar. If you did miss the beginning of the live stream, you can catch it on our YouTube channel. And if you want to get in contact with Trent, we can reach us at our phone number, which is 1-888-739-8885, or you can send us an email at discovertrent@trentu.ca. We also do have some upcoming events, such as our Tours Plus, which is happening on February 1st, and you can register for that online at trentu.ca/open house. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and have a great evening.
Bye.